Welcome back to One Take Recording. It's Enrique, and today we're going to be talking about how I remixed this song. Now, this was part of a remix challenge with the microphone company Lewitt and Eyes Half Shut for their song. The remix challenge was simple, just remix the song however you saw fit, and whoever did the best, the top 3 people, would get a microphone. So I figured why not take a shot at it. Now, my goal when coming into this remix was to do it completely on the Digitact. And I thought it'd be really cool to see if I could make a song by only using the 16 patterns available and the 16 sample slots available as well. The first thing that I've learned on this machine is that prep work is the most important. The first was finding similar sounds and combining those, bouncing them together, and making them into around 16 bar loops. On the original recording, there are a lot of different layers with the vocals, and it made it really fun to work with them and kind of see what we could do. Lastly, I wrote a sketch of what I wanted to do. I made a plan, mainly because I only had 16 patterns to work with, and I needed to figure out the best way to use those patterns. So I kind of made a little rule where the first 4 would be for the intro, the second set of 4 would be for the first verse, the next 4 would be for the chorus, and the last 4 would be verse 2. Now, since we have 2 choruses in the song, I did interchange these 4 patterns here, with 9 and 10 being the first chorus, 11, 12 being the second chorus. I just opened up pattern 16, and I'm going to show you the sounds that I used. And I actually only used up to 14, with 15 and 16 being kind of just blank sounds for anything I wanted to resample a little more. So this first sound is just kind of a synth. They're 2 combined. Very funky, sounds cool. Second one was this kind of bass. I think it sounds really cool, a lot of movement and very like synth-like. Third one, kind of clap, snap, and then going on to our fourth. This is one of the main basses I use in there. This is the second bass available from the song, and this one, driving a ton. It sounds very Tron-like, very, synthy, futuristic. It sounds really cool. Now, going on to 5 and 6, this is our main drum hits, really the core of the song, this kind of higher drum part. This pattern was probably my favorite to work with, and I really enjoyed how it kind of brought a lot more like excitement and life into the remix. This is just kind of a basic kick drum that we use, really drives the beat, keeps it going. 7 was really interesting. This is just kind of these ahs, they kind of sound, very scattered, but I think it made some cool kind of ambient sounds. And then 8 is our main pad. It's the, pretty much the whole melodic, or not melodic, but the whole kind of ambient sound that we have going on throughout the whole entire song. I really like how this pad sounds just by itself, as well as with the sample that we have in 5 with that higher drum. I think they just work together super well, and they sound great. And it gives very like kind of beachy vibes. I don't know, I really liked it. Now going on to 9, more percussive elements. This is a shaker. 10, we have some sticks. 11, kind of some more sticks, kind of just hitting a little bit faster. And then 12, 13, and 14 is where we started adding the vocals. This was our combined vocal, so you can hear both the clean and mixed version. This is just the synth version, and then we have our clean one. Reason I split them up like this, once again, was just variation. With having it, it made it really easy to do kind of echoes and kind of some undertones and kind of bring some more life, as well as once we got to the final one, make it feel more powerful. First thing is this pad and the two bass drum and the higher drum is what we hear the most, so I'm going to go over that. And with this pad, all I did was I put it onto the grid and I let it kind of play as a chop, and it got triggered every quarter note. And this just repeats for the whole pattern, but kind of with the speed of how it's going, I think it sounds really cool. And with the chops, kind of makes it a little bit more abrupt. Next, we're going to move on to this kind of bass drum hit. And this is kind of repeating throughout the whole song. And with the triggers, I kind of just have them placed kind of sporadically so that they get a little more hits. So it's not just this repetitive bass drum. This one, this does not play the whole time. It only plays at the second part of the verse or of the pattern. I think it adds some natural kind of fill to it, and it kind of builds some, natural just momentum by hearing another element come in. Everything on this is kind of how it sounds. We have the shakers kind of going, and like I said before, I did not use all these patterns, but I'm going to go through some of them just so you can kind of see my thought process, and we'll just go over it quick. What I wanted to do was start building up the verse and start kind of leading in from first verse to the chorus and then second verse. So we go to pattern 3.
How could this be fake? You taste so sweet, it hurts at first.
Now, what I didn't realize when I originally did this is the song, it kind of starts on a chorus and then it goes into an intro and then first verse. So this third pattern didn't really fit well with the flow of the rest of the song because we were already at the chorus instead of being at the first verse. So I ended up not using it, but it did kind of build me into this fourth one, which I still don't end up using, but I think sounded kind of cool.
Rushing in my veins, numbing every nerve. How could this be fake?
I really like that background synth vocal. I didn't end up using it anymore, but what I did use is the bass that we hear here. So for this bass, I just played it on the keyboard, and you can kind of hear the different triggers that we have going on. And as you can hear and see, the bass isn't getting to play the full thing. This is how it normally sounds. A lot darker. But even though I didn't use this bass on pattern 4, it does lead us to pattern 5, which I kept the bass and started incorporating the first verse. And we can take a quick listen. I really liked how this kind of vocal chop was repeating, and I wanted to extend that a little bit. So when I went from 5, I was trying to see what I could do to kind of make the phrase continue on so that we could get into the pre-chorus and then the chorus. So we'll go on to 6. The biggest change here though, and what ended up not making this one work, was actually with this bass. Instead of playing it how I did in the previous pattern, I just let it play out. And it really changes the vibe. It's a lot darker, and I didn't set a good transition for it. So I ended up not using 6. Instead, I went back to 5, copied it onto 7, and started working there. So this is 7. And I kept that kind of vocal chop. I just had it play more and kind of more frequently. So going from 5 to 7. it ends with saying can't fall asleep, can't fall asleep, which brings us to pattern 8. I wanted it to kind of say can't fall asleep and then turn into this really short kind of transition that's fall asleep, but it didn't work as well as I wanted it to. What I ultimately ended up doing was changing and not even using 8, but we just used 7 and then we went straight into 9. Looking at our samples, the mistake that I made here was the vocal sample was a little bit too long, and I ended up having to split it across 2 patterns because I didn't chop it into the 16 that it should be. But that's okay. What I ended up doing was just using the first pattern, 9, and focusing on the first half. So then when we got to the second half, which was the biggest part of the hook, the most memorable, I think, that could shine and then just be played out a couple of times. So here's 9. Not that one. Here's the pattern 9. Not going on to 10.
Let's make it clear. How could I have known? Who could be so cruel?
So going on to 10, that's our main chorus. And that's kind of what follows in the next 11 and 12 patterns. But I did some slight changes here. First one was with our synth. We still used the grid, except we chopped it even more into, I believe, 16ths. Yes. So if we take a listen, it has a lot more changes, and I think it sounds pretty cool, especially when we're kind of building up a little bit more. Adding this synth, adding the bass now. I have it playing, and then at the second part, it's turned up 1 octave, so it's sped up even. And then we also had our second track playing right here to just help add a little bit too. Definitely doing a lot here so that it can just, build a lot of movement up. This is our second verse, and this is where I actually decided to incorporate what I had from 6 and change it. When I originally made pattern 6, we'll take a listen real quick again. When I heard it, it felt more like a bridge. And I thought that'd be perfect for the second verse, so that's what I wanted it to kind of be. I had the main vocal play now. Then we'll go into 14. As we go into pattern 14, we have that kind of returning as a backing vocal, which will then lead us into 14, or into 11. So going into 11, it leads us in really well because it's the first part on 11 is Honey on My Tongue with some vocal effects so that it sounds very washed out and kind of echoey. But having that drip, drip, drip brings us back from what we had from 13 to 11, Honey on My Tongue. And then this acts as the second kind of pre-chorus, which then leads us into the last chorus. As I was finishing it up, I decided what would be, another good way to end it from the chorus so it's not just abrupt. Why not start on 1 and copy all the tracks over from 12 and just put a bunch of filters on it? Kind of make it feel like it's far away, kind of washed out. And that's what I did. What I really like about this is that we are now back at 1, and that's kind of our ending. But it is also our beginning, and this was probably my favorite part of the song. And as a way to just further get rid of things, why not mute some tracks? And then if we let it play out, this has a really nice kind of like intro feel, which leads really well into pattern 2. And there we go. We have directly just gone back from pattern 2 from our ending chorus. And if you watch the full video of me playing, we actually start on pattern 1 and it ends with finishing on pattern 1 and the song being a loop. I really like this because it was just, I don't know, I think it sounded cool and it was fun to kind of make it a complete loop, you know, that you could essentially just keep on playing. Pretty much the core of the song and everything was just trying to transition like it was a song. I wanted it to feel like the first verse, chorus, second verse, chorus, and outro without just directly copying everything. And by adding my own twist with the vocal chops, I think I was able to do so. On this Digitact, I'm able to play it live. So when I set it up live, my main goal was to be able to have everything play out, make it so I could adjust some things on the fly, whether it be the filter or some of the FX, and then add my guitar. For me, I thought it was really cool being able to do that and kind of bringing another outside element into this mix. But besides that, everything on this song was only sampled from the tracks from the song, as well as only sampled on the Digitact, which was my main goal. And I'm really excited and I'm pretty happy that I was able to do this because, you know, I've been learning this, I've been spending a lot more time on this, and, you know, I feel like I was able to make a track that really used a lot of the elements on the Digitact and, you know, used all the patterns and flowed pretty well. Is there more stuff I can learn on this? Yes, absolutely. But my main goal was making patterns that flowed into each other, and I think I got it. Once again, my name is Enrique, and this is One Take Recording, and this was a breakdown of the remix I did from the Lewitt / Eyes Half Shut remix challenge. It was completely resampled, reflipped, whatever you want to call it, on the Digitact with one additional guitar being played live by me. And if you haven't checked out the video of the live performance, make sure to go check it out. It's already out, and I'm really excited. I think it was super fun to make. It was super fun to shoot the video. We did it all in one take, live as well. And it really feels kind of like a step in the right direction of where I've been wanting things to go with, you know, making content on here. I love being able to incorporate different instruments and different things together. And I feel like this was a really cool opportunity to do it. It challenged me. It put me out of, you know, the normal comfort zone that I'm in. And I had a good time. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.